photo op. Guys, let the stills and TV get theirs first, and then we'll do the cell phones. Thank you. Thank you. Now you can take those pictures from the front. And we're good, Jeff. Adrian, you want to start us off?
Sure. Welcome everyone. Thank you for being here on this momentous occasion. We couldn't be more thrilled about today and this press conference. I wanted to take you back a little bit in time because I think it's sort of an interesting story and how we all got here, and Clint's perspective may be slightly different than mine, but I'll give you from our side how this came about. About 2 years ago, Joe Roth and I started having conversations about sort of the dream big player that we could bring to our team. And I have to give a ton of credit to Joe Roth in this particular case, because Joe is, as I've said, a no guts, no glory kind of guy. And so we had these conversations, and Clint Dempsey's name would always be at the top of the list. And so starting about 2 years, I would call the league or be in contact with Lyle Yorks, Clint's agent, and inquire about Clint. And the answer was always no chance. No chance, no chance, no chance. So every few months, I'd give a call and get the same answer. And about 5 weeks ago or so, there started to be some rumors from England that maybe Clint could be sold by Tottenham. We didn't know if they were rumors, whether there was any validity to it, but it was an opportunity to pick up the phone again. Called Lyle again, and the answer was still no chance. We sort of went on our way, assuming that would continue to be the case. And then I'd say about 2.5 weeks ago, I got a call from Todd Durbin in the MLS office. Concurrently, the commissioner was reaching out to Joe Roth, and the message was there might be a chance. So we clearly jumped at that crack or that kink in the armor and wanted to figure out whether there was a really, a true opportunity here or whether just, it would be a passing opportunity. And Joe, again, was very quick to pounce at this and said, this is a guy we've wanted for 2 years. Let's figure out how to do it. Truth be told, not having anything to do with Clint being the right guy for our team, I was a little more hesitant. This is a massive contract, a massive commitment by the club from our perspective. Maybe, I don't know if it's massive from Clint's perspective. We've always wanted to run a really rational business. And so the great part at that point is we have a very good partnership. Joe Roth, myself, Paul Allen, represented by Peter McLaughlin, and Drew Carey. And the four of us got together, made sure that this was still a reasonable thing to do from running a business standpoint. Once that box was checked, it was full, in that we thought Clint was the guy for our franchise at this time. from a playing standpoint, from a team dynamic standpoint, character, chemistry, what he does in the community, and alongside that, just a commitment to our fans, because we really do feel as though we are stewards of this franchise for our fan base, and they deserve players like we have on our franchise and on our team, and a guy like Clint Dempsey. So with that said, again, very, very privileged and excited to introduce the newest member of Seattle Sounders FC, Clint Dempsey.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I'm losing my voice a little bit, so bear with me. But yes, like Adrian said, a few weeks ago, the opportunity came up where my agent was asking me would it be something I'd be interested in, and I said for sure. I've always followed the league. It's a league that gave me my chance, to become professional. And, I want to be able to come back when I'm in my prime and not when I'm past it to help continue the growth of this league and of this club. And, the league and Seattle Sounders organization has showed, a great commitment and making that happen. They really moved mountains because I was still in contract. I still had 2 years left. And going into preseason, I honestly thought that's, where I was going to be. So there was a big decision. Sat down with my family and talked about it a lot, and just felt it was the right time, and just felt right. And I'm excited to come and play in Seattle in front of some of the best fans in the world. I mean, statistically, I think it's top 30 in the whole world. So I got to experience, that the league is changing. It is growing. Fans are coming out to the games. The quality of soccer on the field is better. And I got to see that during the World Cup qualifiers, just being around that type of environment. And I'm excited about coming back to the States and helping the continued growth of this league and helping Seattle Sounders, do well. I mean, the goal here is to win an MLS Cup, and I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen.
We'll open up for questions now.
Clint, how important was it for you to make this decision now? You see some people maybe make the move when they're maybe past their prime. People would say you are in your prime right now. How important was it the timing of this decision for you?
Yeah, I would say timing was everything. I had 2 more years on my contract. I was already starting to get the itch, to be honest with you. I wanted to come back to the States. I just miss being in America. It's where I was born. And, I wanted to help, continue the growth of the game here. And like you said, you can't help the growth of the game if you come back and you don't perform. I understand there's a lot of pressure on me to succeed, a lot of expectations that others have on me, but also the expectations I put on myself. And when I decided to come back to this league, I want to come and make an impact. I want to do a good job. I don't want to come and be past it and not be able to make a difference in games. I want to win things. I'm still gonna work as hard as ever to make sure that my game's at the highest level possible, and I'm doing everything I can to help the team win.
Clint, what was the vibe in the stadium like for that qualifier, and how much did that have to do with your decision?
The atmosphere was great. It was one of the best atmospheres that I've experienced representing my country and being in the States. It almost felt like you were in a different country, felt like you were in Europe. Also, just walking around the city, the Seattle Sounders game was on, and we were able to have a meal on our own as a team. So we're just walking around the city. You see the games on TVs in bars or in restaurants, and it's just like, wow. I never thought I'd see the day because I grew up in Nacogdoches, Texas, where it's like, what are you doing? You're playing soccer? Why aren't you playing, football? Why aren't you playing baseball and stuff like that? So, yeah, I mean, it did have a part to play in it. Also, the fact that, the ownership group made such a commitment, showed how much that they wanted me. You want to feel appreciated, and I appreciate that. And the atmosphere walking out to the game for the announcement, it felt like it was a movie. I've never felt so welcome and so at home, just right off the jump. So I'm looking forward to getting on the field and really paying back the fans, paying back the ownership, paying back the league for their faith in me, and make sure that I show them that it was a good investment and that, we're going to do some great things here.
Ziggy Woodward, do you see I think pressure is always there, and pressure is what you put on yourself. Certainly, when you can add a quality player, that makes you that much better as a team. I think everybody on our team, is very happy that Clint's joining our team because they know it makes us a better team. Where exactly, how we're going to play, that's something that we'll work out, in the next few days on the training ground, and obviously in the next 3-4 games, as people get to understand each other and understand their roles and how their roles maybe change a little bit. But as far as pressure, Adrian wants me to succeed, and he wants to win an MLS Cup. I want to win an MLS Cup, and the guy sitting next to me here wants to win an MLS Cup. And I think it certainly improves our chances. Whether it's this year, whether it's next year, I can't make those kind of predictions and promises, but I can promise you this: that we're gonna give it a go this year and put ourselves in a position to win it.
Clint, have you spoken to Jurgen Klinsmann at all about this deal? And if so, what do you have to say about it?
I haven't had the opportunity to really sit down and talk to him about everything that's gone on. I've been busy with my family and really thinking about the decision and trying to make the best decision possible for us. It's something that we will talk about, but like I spoke with Ziggy, I'm coming here. I'm still going to have that pressure to succeed, that pushing me every day to make sure that I can be the best player that I can be and help the team be the best that they can be. I'm not going to let up or slow down or slack. I'm going to keep pushing myself, keep working hard, and make the most of where I'm at. And I'm happy to be here in Seattle. So, we'll have those discussions. But from my standpoint, I don't see there being a difference there, because there's players still in MLS that get called into camp and they still perform at a high level. And I expect to continue doing the same.
How much does it ultimately mean to you, what he has to say about it or what he thinks about it?
I think everybody has the right to their opinion and what they think is best for, the future, whether that's with the national team, whether that's for your career. And you also have to do the same for yourself. Everybody's their own man. And, it's not something I made a quick decision on. I really thought about it, and I really had a lot of conversations with my mom, my dad, my brothers, and my wife. And I just feel that it was the right time. I wanted to come back when I was in my prime. I had a good time in Europe. Was at Fulham. We did some great things there. Got to Europa League final. We had the highest finish ever in the league table, finishing 7th. At Tottenham, got to the highest point total that they've ever had. That was 72 points in a season. So I look back with no regrets. I thought my time over there, if you want to crunch numbers, I was successful. And, I want to continue doing the same here. So I just want to thank Tottenham and the organization and the fans. I want to thank Fulham, the organization and the fans, for a great experience in Europe. I can't forget the New England Revolution. Thank them because they gave me my start. But also I'm thanking Seattle Sounders because they're giving me another chance to be at a great club and do some great things, and hopefully we can get that done.
Clint, you had talked about wanting to play in the Champions League in the past. How much of that was a goal to potentially stay with Tottenham for at least another year?
Yeah, I mean, it's something there's something that I did have to think about. It was a goal of mine to play in the Champions League, and last season we finished the highest point total ever, and normally 72 points, it would have got you Champions League, and maybe that's something that they can accomplish. I had 2 more years there, but I've been in Europe for 6.5 years, and I just wanted to come home. I was starting to get that itch. Every year was more difficult to go back, and I think everything just has to do with timing. The Seattle Sounders moved mountains to get me here. It was an opportunity to come back when I was in my prime, help the continued growth of this league, and it's a challenge that I'm excited about. So it's not going to be easy. It's still going to be difficult, but I'm looking forward to it. But that was something that I did think about.
Adrian, you talked about this being, or maybe Peter, you talked about this being a massive commitment. Is it the fact that the Sounders draw 40,000 a game and there's so much merchandise sales? What makes that possible, or is it just deep pockets from the owners? What makes that big commitment so possible?
Well, I mean, it was a collective decision. Paul Allen was certainly supportive of the decision. Joe and Adrian were, passionate about going after Clint. Clint's going to be a huge addition, and I think we do have a phenomenal fan base, and we do lead the league in attendance. We'll lead the league for the 5th consecutive year after this season, and we intend to grow our fan base. So certainly that contributes to the resources, but it was a combination of reasons to go after Clint, and I think it's the right player at the right time.
What's your condition like right now?
I'm feeling good. I've been able to get some training. With Tottenham, I was able to participate in 2 games. The first game, I played 60 minutes. In the second game, I played 45 minutes. Was able to contribute in that game and get a goal, so that felt good. But still, it's preseason. I'm gonna have to work in training. I've only gotten the opportunity to do 1 training session here, but look forward to getting in, with the guys and working on things and seeing, where it is. You don't know where you are until you play in games, really. No matter how much you want to run, nothing can really replicate what it's like to play a game and play at a high level for 90 minutes. So that's something we'll just have to evaluate.
From Heathrow to SFO to Seattle, what lengths did you have to go to in the team to try and preserve that secret on your way over there?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I started in London, then from London, I've been doing a lot of travel. Yeah, the secret on top of that, but just going back to preseason, just to give you a little idea of how much traveling I've been doing. I went to London. I was there for 4 days. Went to Hong Kong. Was there for a week. Then back to London there for 4 days, and then I had to fly. Then that's when I was in Hong Kong. That's when I think things were starting to be talked about, and then more advanced conversations happened when I was in London, and then it was about logistics of trying to get here as soon as possible and try to get, make it the easiest flight. Because of the situation, I had to fly into San Francisco, and then I think people didn't know what to expect. I think there was people saying, why is he in the States, and where could he potentially be going? And then got on the flight to Seattle and had to go out a back door, should say, and, try to keep it a secret as long as possible because, it is something that you wanted to bring excitement around the announcement of that, and Adrian would played a big part in being able to keep the secret and for as long as possible. But eventually got out a little bit. But I still think it was a nice surprise, and like I said, walking on the field for the presentation, I mean, it was like a movie. I've never felt so appreciated and so valued, and it just gives me that much more determination to work hard and pay those fans back for that moment.
Dempsey watch on Twitter?
I wasn't, to be honest with you, but my brother was telling me about it, my mom, so my family members, they were laughing about it. But I think it's awesome that people really care that much about the sport in the States, that they wanted to know what was going on, that they were trying to figure it all out, trying to piece together the puzzle and come up with their own conclusions. But, I'm happy to be at Seattle, and I look forward to doing some great things here.
Adrian, could you talk about the MLS rule that allowed Clint to come in without going through any sort of allocation process? And also, given the economics of MLS, is it, I saw some Twitter back and forth already with Obafemi saying that Eddie Johnson needs a raise. Is it almost going to be impossible to keep this core together beyond this MLS season?
Okay, so rule, and I'll try not to spend too long on these, but we have different mechanisms by which players can come into the league. Clint came in as a designated player. You can't come in through multiple mechanisms. So you can't come in as a designated player and an allocation player and a discover. So came in as a designated player. We were able to work directly with Lyle and the league to put together a package that made sense. Let's be realistic. A player of Clint's quality and pedigree has a say in where he ends up. So that's just the reality of certain players that end up in our league. So that really was sort of the process by which Clint came into the league and to Seattle. As far as keeping teams together, I mean, we obviously we'll focus more on that next year and how we keep the team together. The only thing I will say is that there's always a salary structure dynamic on every team and every sport in the world. And some guys get compensated a lot, and some guys get compensated less. Some guys are overpaid for their performance. Some guys are underpaid for their performance. It's our job to try to manage through that, and we'll try to manage through that the best we can.
Clint, Adrian mentioned, player your caliber does have some say. How important was being in Seattle specifically versus, as you said, come back to MLS, helping grow the game a little bit?
There's a few dynamics. It was important to be in Seattle because of the fan base, the atmosphere, because Ziggy is a coach. He's someone who's done so much for the American game, and just being around the national team, and you hear players when they talk about different coaches, it was always positive. What the players had to say about Ziggy. Also being able to come up here for a World Cup, qualifier and be able to see the atmosphere and, talking with Eddie Johnson, when I was in the national team, just how much he really enjoyed it here and that kind of stuff. And being able, also on that trip, I went fishing with Marcus Hanneman, and I love fishing, so it was cool to, just be back in the States and do the things that, I enjoyed as a kid growing up. And it's just really the perfect place to be. You can do everything that you want to do on and off the field, and just look forward to being here and being able to raise my family here. That was a big thing, being able to have my kids, raised here in the States and have some of the experience that I had, like T-ball and all that kind of stuff. So I just look forward to that and look forward to getting on the field.
Do you see this as a long-term move?
It's a long-term contract, and yes, I look to be here for a long time. So I'm happy about being here.
Catch anything with Marcus?
Actually, I foul hooked a minnow, so I wasn't impressive. But Brad Davis, he actually caught a fish, so he showed me up. But it was a good time. It was good to get out to break up. Just being in the hotel. So that was nice of Marcus to take out me, Brad, and Stewie Holden, for a day, fishing.
You're holding up jersey number 2. Has that been worked out with the All-Star rookie who previously had that number?
Yes, it had to be a hostage negotiation, but he's a great kid and he's having a great year, and I'm sure that there'll be some type of compensation, but also I had to take him out for a few meals as well. But it was very kind of him to be able to let me have that number and for us to be able to work something out. And so I really did appreciate that from him. It is a number that holds a lot of significance to me. I think a lot of people look at it like, what's this kid doing? Why does he want to wear number 2 when he's an attacking player? But it all started for me when I was in college. It was the only number really available because all the upperclassmen, they got all the more, I guess, traditional numbers that you would wear for certain positions, and then the rest is just considered scraps. But then when I went to college, had the opportunity between number 2 and number 10. I'm not college, MLS, the Revolution, between number 2 and number 10. And at the time, number 10 was seen as an unlucky number with the Revs. So I was like, well, I don't want to touch that. So I went with number 2. And then that's when I realized the very first jersey that I ever had, my mom got it framed, was a little bitty number 2 jersey. So that's why it was something special to me. But I guess maybe I was little when I was a kid. Maybe they gave all the runs to little jerseys or something like that. But that's why I always try to continue with number 2 as long as possible.
Adrian, there's a report on SI.com that MLS picked up the $9 million transfer. How does that work?
Yeah, we're not going to comment on the financial structure of the deal or any of the numbers.
Well, does that happen in MLS where
No, it doesn't happen. The league generally will pick up transfer fees. So that's really all I'll say, though.
Ziggy, you've been in this league for a long time. What does this transaction say about where the league has grown to, and maybe also specifically where this team has grown to in front of you?
Well, I think it makes a huge statement for the league. the ability to bring a player back like Clint at the time of his career that he's in right now, where he's still in his prime, and the commitment, the financial commitment that the league made to make that happen, is a step forward. You know, we were always considered, or maybe we still are considered to a certain extent, a selling league, or a league where players are going to develop and then they're going to move on to maybe more lucrative pastures, and that's something that's still going to go on and is still going to continue. But by bringing a player like Clint back, I think the statement that's being made is we're ready to step up that next level. We're ready to move into that next level now. We're moving forward, and we're going to become more competitive on a day in, day out basis. And for our club, you know, it's a tremendous commitment that the ownership has made, but it's also a fantastic reward for our fans. You know, the fans that have followed us and have been committed to this club, you know, for all our years now, going into our 5th season, and you know, it's a reward for them. It's like, you've been with us, you've been there. We're giving you now a little special gift. You know, we're bringing back a guy like Clint Dempsey and in the prime of his career, and with that, we're going to continue to push. We're going to continue to keep this club at the upper echelon. You know, we're not satisfied with just being average. We want to be the best, and I think that's the message that the club sends. But it's a tremendous reward for our fans, and it's a tremendous step forward from the league.
Clint, how have you seen this league grow since you left?
Just seeing it in attendance, just also in more soccer-specific stadiums. You see the quality on the field, and it's a testament because they show the games overseas. I've been able to, catch games here and there, even though they might be delayed games because of the time difference and stuff like that. But they show the games, so it shows that there is an interest in people in other countries watching our league, and being able to still have players from this league doing well, come into the national team and still perform at a high level shows that there's not a drop-off there, that, you can still, be competitive and you can still compete against, the players that are doing well in Europe for a place on the national team. So I would say that's a good example as any to how the league's doing.
Adrian, Joe made the comments in the offseason about kind of being able to spend this year and doing whatever it takes. How important was balancing just making moves versus getting the right guys with Obafemi and now? Right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's critical. It's easy to spend money in football, in soccer. I mean, you can, there's no shortage of players out there commanding massive salaries and transfer fees, but we clearly wanted to get it right. I think from Oba's performance, it's been right so far. And we believed 2 years ago, we still believe that Clint is dead on another right decision on the field and off the field. First and foremost, it's about winning championships and delivering for our fans, but Clint clearly provides the ancillary benefit of being a massive figure in U.S. soccer, and a fan favorite and someone that can connect with our fans and our community and do great things here in the Northwest, and quite frankly for the league overall. So yeah, for sure, it's got to be the right guy.
Obviously, this one kind of worked out for you. There's deals happen every year that people wonder about in MLS. Do you see a need for maybe some more transparency in the way things are done? What kind of stage of the process do you see the league in regarding that right now?
Yeah, I think we're in our adolescence as a league. I mean, the league's what, 17th year, I think. We're always, I sit on the product strategy committee, competition committee, and we talk about transparency, and we want to continue to have more and more transparency in the league. So I think that's a good thing for fans. So it is something that we're working towards.
They've said in the past that some of the rules and some of the smoke and mirrors kind of exist to help MLS stay competitive and to, I guess, shield it a little bit from leagues overseas. What's kind of, can you give an example of how maybe one of the rules that we now know about
Well, why don't we do this offline? I mean, this is about Clint and bringing him to Seattle, and I'd rather get into the league rule stuff offline if that's okay.
One more question?
Hey, Ziggy, just for your team overall, Clint mentioned DeAndre from a rookie to your veterans, the addition of Clint. What does that do? Not that your team needs to take it up another level, but what does his addition do? And will we see Clint against Toronto this weekend?
Well, certainly, I mean, adding Clint gives us a lot more weapons, and offensively, there's a lot of options now, and there's a lot of players to choose from. It's a matter of, like I say, the understanding and them getting to mesh with each other is important. Clint's going to train, obviously, this week. He's already played a couple of preseason games with Tottenham, so my expectation is that he will play in Toronto. How many minutes and so forth, that will sort of work out. We'll talk. We'll see how things feel, because the one thing we don't want to do is push too hard, push too soon, and put him in a situation where he gets injured. Because we want him out there for as maximizing his minutes. Our team overall, as I said, the reception from the guys has been fantastic. We're starting to get healthier right now. I thought the team played very well against Dallas, on Saturday night. We still got games in hand, so the standings look bad right now when you look at the points, but when you look at games in hand, if we can take those games and put positive results on the end of them, we're going to put ourselves in a very good position, and that's our objective. And one of the big things that Clint's going to provide for us is leadership at crucial moments in critical games. He's an experienced player who's played in Europa League matches, who's played in the EPL, who's been in World Cup qualifiers, who's played in the World Cup, and you can't have enough of those type of guys that when it's a critical game and it's a crucial moment in that critical game, somebody who can keep their wits about them, who can make the right decision, who can make a determination, give a little help to a young player like DeAndre in those moments as well, and that just takes your team a step further. And that leadership within the game is something that Clint can provide. I know he will provide for our team.
Thank you. We have time for a few one-on-ones.